Today on Atomic Shrimp we need to talk about spotted. So I've got a couple of steamed puddings here called spotted. Now you may have heard of spotted, and I'm not going to go into all of the history of it, but it's quite an old-fashioned dish. This is probably a modern rendition of it. In fact, this is a microwavable one that comes in little pots. Spotted goes a long way back to the 1800s or so, and possibly before. Traditionally, it's a steamed pudding that's made from kind of dumpling mix, which is almost more like a pastry than a cake. So it would have been traditionally made with suet, flour, dried fruit, perhaps a little bit of sugar, maybe some other ingredients as well. It probably would have been an undersweetened dish because it would have been served with a sweet sauce like custard, which is what I'm going to be doing today. So this is, as I say, a modern rendition of it. Auntie's Delicious Spotted Dick. It sounds like a music hall joke, doesn't it? Sultana and raisin steamed puds. Now the word pud, which is short for pudding, pudding in the UK is a very broad term that encompasses a very wide range of different foods. I appreciate elsewhere in the world pudding means one thing, which is kind of like a set custard. Here in the UK it can mean anything from a sausage to a cake to just the dessert course of a meal. Right, let's have a look at the ingredients. So, ingredients: invert sugar syrup, wheat flour, water, dried fruit 11%, which is Sultana's all raisins, rice bran oil, partially inverted sugar syrup, glycerine, breadcrumb, dried skim milk, milk proteins, dried whole egg, modified maize starch, raising agents, which is sodium bicarbonate, disodium diphosphate, dried egg white, stabilizer, xanthan gum, spices, salt, preservative, which is sorbic acid and alcohol, flavouring, emulsifiers, mono and diglycerides of fatty acids, polyglycerol esters of fatty acids, lecithin. So probably almost nothing apart from the dried fruit and maybe the flour in there that would be in a traditional steamed spotted dick pudding. I will, in a future video, make a traditional recipe of spotted dick. Meanwhile, if you want to research the history of this dish, there will be links in the video description. So the instructions here are just to peel off the foil, heat it in the microwave for 30 to 40 seconds, flip it onto a plate, squeeze, remove pot and enjoy. Caution, pudding will be hot and steamy. So Auntie's hot and steamy, delicious spotted dick steamed puds. Whew, well, that's all chance of monetising this video gone. Let's head to the kitchen. First I'm going to make some custard and then we'll try this out. I'm going to be making a cornflour custard today, or cornstarch. By far the most popular custard in the UK is the cornflour type. I have made egg custard in another video, but this is the most popular type, and in fact this is the most popular brand, Birds. So apparently the guy who invented this did so because his wife was allergic to eggs. The directions on the can call for 2 tablespoons of custard powder. I actually like my custard a little bit thicker than that, so I'm going to go for about 2.5. And then 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm using golden caster sugar. And I've got a pint of milk here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that milk in there, and we'll blend that together with that cornstarch mixture. If you try and add the whole lot at once, it's a disaster. That can go in the pan, together with the rest of the milk, and I'll just use the milk here to rinse out this jug. So we get all of the corn flour. Now across to the cooker. You can of course buy custard ready-made. It comes in tins and cartons, and you can get some really nice, rich, very flavourful custards, very sweet custards that way. I think Ambrosia is probably the most popular brand in the UK, but I think most people probably still make custard using cornstarch. I'm not sure, I don't have the stats to hand, but my gut feeling is most people who consume custard do so with custard made from custard powder and milk. Custard powder, of course, is literally just cornstarch, yellow colouring and vanilla flavouring. So ingredients: maize starch, salt, flavouring, colour. That's it. So actually it contains a little bit of salt. I'm just going to keep that on the move until that heats up, and it will just thicken abruptly and then it's done. This can also be done in the microwave. You can just put this in a jug in the microwave and heat it that way and take it out a few times to whisk it. I just actually find it easier to do it this way, to be honest. Standing over it with a whisk is not a big deal. If you do it in the microwave, you have to use a bigger jug than the capacity of the custard you're making because it can just bubble over. And I'm not sure you'll be able to see this on camera, but as it thickens, the yellow colour really comes out. Okay, that's thickened as much as it's going to in the pan here. It will thicken further on standing. And so I'm just going to transfer that back into the jug. Right, just going to let that stand for a little bit, and then we will cook the puddings and try it together. Time now to look at these spotted dick puddings. So let's have a look. As I say, this is not a traditional spotted dick. This is a sponge cake version of it, but you know, it's all good. So that's the thing. It's a little sponge cake in a plastic pot. It smells quite syrupy, which I think is, well, again, departure from tradition. But I'm not complaining. Those have got to go in the microwave for 30 to 40 seconds. I don't think it'll make much difference that there's two of them going in together, just because there's so little mass here. I fixed the light in my microwave. Okay, so after 45 seconds, they've softened a great deal. They smell baked, and supposedly we can squeeze them out of their little pots. There we go. So it is a very wobbly and soft little pudding. How about that? Okay, it's going to be hot. So, spotted dick pudding. Fresh custard. Do you know what? That could have been thicker than it was. I think maybe 3 tablespoons of custard powder in a pint of milk might have been the right amount. Right, dig in. I'm just going to show the camera what it's like inside. So it's a very soft, very moist cake with raisins in it. I think spotted dick would not normally be as dark coloured as this. Would you think so, Jenny? I mean, traditional spotted dick is more of a sponge cake sort of colour, isn't it? And right, well, the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
It smells nice.
Yeah, it's alright actually. A steamed cake is definitely a different texture, isn't it, to a baked one?
Yes, definitely.
More moist and sort of gelatinous structure. Flavour's very mild, isn't it? But it's, you know, the spices are there, so that's what it looks like. Camera. Let's just show the camera. That's what it looks like.
Tastes like it's got golden syrup or treacle in it.
Yeah, I thought so too. When I baked them, I think it did have a bit of syrup on the top. So that's a kind of crossover from a syrup sponge recipe, really, isn't it?
Tastes like it's got dates in it, but it's not, is it?
Sultanas and raisins, I think. Yeah, it's got a bit of that sticky toffee pudding sort of
Yeah, it has.
vibe to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think this is a departure from a traditional spotted dick recipe. But it's nice enough. So there we go, that was Auntie's hot and steamy spotted dick steamed puds. Overall impression, I think they're not bad actually. I'm not really very convinced that that's a traditional spotted dick recipe, but it was nice enough. Challenge now, I suppose, is for me to put my money where my mouth is and make my own version of this to a traditional recipe, and maybe make my own version of a modern one as well. So that'll be in a future video. For now, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.